Larry Shirley spent 21 years on Charleston City Council, serving the residents of West Ashley. Nowadays, he's selling insurance and has his own travel agency. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with him one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Mr. Larry Shirley, it's so good to see you again.
Nice being with you.
I appreciate this. You know, we were just talking off camera, and I thought I was busy, but you're busy. You have your insurance company, you have your travel agency, you're serving on a couple of boards. What is it like to be you right now?
At 70, it's just a little hard to get out of bed occasionally. Other than that, I walk 2 miles a day, and I'm just a fat, healthy guy.
You talk about being healthy. Just the other day, Sunday, I took a run on one of my rare days off from running and working and taping interviews. I took a run down to Charleston Waterfront Park, and obviously they're going to rededicate that waterfront park to former Charleston Mayor Joe Riley. And I was looking at the plaque, and I know that you guys actually, actually opened the waterfront park in 1990 when I was probably 5 or 6 years old. What is it like to see that rededicated in his honor?
As long as they don't take my name off the plaque.
You and Robert Ford.
yeah, me and Robert, and I guess Brenda,
right.
And Jerome Kinlock,
right.
and Danny, and if you notice, I'm leaving some of the last names out. It would take me a while
right.
to remember all the
right.
last names. And of course, Miss Hilda Hutchinson, Jefferson. That was the first. I think that was the first thing that I actually, that or the aquarium that I had my name on, and it was so neat. I took when the grandkids come into town, I make them go to every one of where the plaques are with my name and say, "That's your granddad right there."
Wow.
But no, I think it's great that the mayor and I at one point we kind of butted heads.
Right.
But for 40 years he dedicated, his life to the city. He's still dedicating his life to the city. Of course, he's doing the African American Museum. He's been relentless on that. He's worked on that just as hard, if not harder, than he did on the aquarium. So I think naming the park after him, obviously, there's so many things that we named after Joe. One of the things, which is a little known fact, is that we named the ballpark after him in case it sank. We wanted his name to be. But no, the Joe is one of my favorite places to go to. So the mayor and I, as well as my wife, every year Joe brings a gift basket to me of fruit and bananas, and we bake him a cake. So you can have political differences and what have you, and as I found out later in life, it's a lot easier to smile and get along with people than it is to just keep smashing them in the mouth. So Joe's Mayor Riley, I guess as I should call him, I consider him a friend, so that's why I say Joe every now and then.
And you say relentless with the International African American Museum. I asked him this, I guess last year when I interviewed him for Quintin's Close-Ups, and he basically said, "Hey, that's not my legacy." Do you think that's his legacy, the museum?
No, I don't really. I think it's part of you have a 3-pronged stool, and if you don't have one, the stool falls over as well as a chair.
Yeah.
I think his legacy is many, many feet or many fingers in the pie, and I think that African American Museum would be just one of his legacies. I think he wanted it built because that's where most of the slaves came in. I mean, literally, if it's historically correct, and I have no reason to doubt that it's not, I think that is hopefully something that will, as Joe would say, 50 or 100 years from now, people look and see who the founder really was that was so instrumental in doing that. And it's a testimony to. They talk about white privilege. It's a testimony that a white European, as Wendell would say, or some of my dear black brothers, it's a good testament that there's a great deal of harmony that in this city's course, shown that with the terrible things that we've had to endure with Mother Emanuel. So, I mean, I think it's just one of his legacies.
Yeah. You talk about Wendell, you talk about butting heads with former Mayor Joe Rowley. I know that you spent 20 years on Charleston City Council.
Right.
Is there one particular issue right now that you wish you could be back on council to really discuss and butt heads with people about?
Well, I got off after 20 years because it wasn't just so I was butting heads with people. I think I kept hitting my head with a hammer, and that's why I had a headache. So I put the hammer down and got off council. The drainage issue is a big issue. I tried and failed 3 times, and I say failed because the homes in Shadowmoss are in that area over there at Bridgepoint. I told the city we need to tear them down and just take them over. And then they flooded 3 more times after that. I watched some dear people that were friends of mine and voted for me because I knew I fought very hard for them, but I did butt heads with environmental agencies, with the federal government, with all types of entities wanting to get money and funds so that we could just buy them up and bulldoze them because they were built in a fishbowl.
Right.
But right now, no, not really, because, I enjoy, I got into the travel business because I enjoy making people smile. See you smile.
Yeah, I did vacation myself.
If I wanted to talk to you about life insurance or health insurance, you'd snarl a little bit. So we actually did that because our actual not annuities, we don't do annuities, but we do health. And my wife does senior products and Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements. So, I've helped a few people get on council. I've helped a few people probably get off council. I think, I've served on the late night committee at the Mayor Joe's pleasure. Right. I think, Mayor Tecklenburg's taken things in a different direction. Sure. And I've had my time to do that. I enjoy some of the other boards and commissions that I'm on. I'm still on the Municipal Golf Commission. That's a pretty easy commission, but it's not, because we actually are balancing some of the city budget with the revenue we make over there. So I'm still very actively involved with the city. I was instrumental in bringing and helping find the right people to build a ballpark. Even though I objected a little bit to the amount of money we spent on it, I think it's in one of the most beautiful locations of any minor league ballpark in the country. So, I look around at, certain things that I did, small things like sidewalks and bike paths, right. And you see people enjoying them. And most of the time, they don't know who did that, but I know that I had it's kind of like putting you on a cruise ship or letting you go to an all-inclusive resort or maybe something, hiking through the Grand Canyon. It puts a smile on your face and takes some stress off of you. So, we got so much stress in today's society that, doing the job that really makes us money and pay the house, the insurance side, is good, and God's been great to us to do that. But about a year and a half ago, this is the week that we finished up our school in Fort Lauderdale, so 1 year later, I'm starting my 2nd year in something that I really love. I'm not making a lot of money at it yet, mainly because it takes a lot of time. Sure. In the business. It's a word of mouth, advertising. Matter of fact, we just signed a contract today with a local station to run some ads, which has proved to be somewhat successful because fortunately my name is still out there in the public. Right. But I want it to be out there in a good vein, not a bad vein. Right. So I think God's been good to me and blessed me. I've made a few mistakes on council in 20 years. You do certain things that you would have done differently, but I was given the time to rectify and correct some of the mistakes I made, so I feel good about where things are at. Would I do something differently? You was talking about when you were born, and when I started in council and ran in 1989 and was sworn in 1990. When I moved here in 1974, do you know that Savannah Highway was a 4-lane then?
No.
It's still a 4-lane.
Right. That is
So
true.
we haven't progressed from an infrastructure standpoint near as much as I'd like to see us, but, you know, I know that there's other good people that's gonna fight that fight. I had a candidate that I ran against, Harry Griffin, Summer Massey, both fine people.
Right.
She lost, Harry won. I'm hearing good reports about him. He happens to be my representative.
Right.
Summer is still young, out there working and doing things in the community, so I'm real excited about young people. I'm just tremendously excited about young people. That Harry's very young, one of the youngest council members to ever be elected to city council, and Summer was relatively very young too. So, contrary to what people say, we've got things going in this community, I think, that will won't go beyond Joe's legacy, but there's going to be new leaders, new people that you and I are not even thinking about right now, that 10 or 15 years, the responsibility is going to be on their shoulders to carry on some of the things that the mayor did and former council members like Wendell Gilliard.
Oh, Wendell.
The funny thing about Wendell was we wanted to stop or he wanted to stop people from their pants hanging down.
Right.
And he brought that again up in the legislature.
Right.
And I think I was one of the few people that would support him on council for that. And I said to my wife, I said, good for Wendell, you know. And Robert was a character.
Oh, yes.
Robert was a character. But I'd like to share with you one quick secret
Sure.
thing that nobody knows, but they will know it now, is the mayor and I both were, and still are, Atlanta Braves fans. And when I first got on council, we didn't get along much about anything. And I noticed that we'd start the meetings at the Ways and Means at 5:30, and then then our regular meeting was supposed to start at 6, but people would argue and fuss and that and some. I told the mayor, I said, why don't we do something? Why don't we move the meeting? This was during the summer months. I said, why don't we move the meeting to 5 o'clock, the Ways and Means, and
Right.
move the city council to 5:30. Then we'll have citizens participation, and let's limit everyone to 33 minutes, no longer than 30 minutes. So if we had 10 people talk, they had 3 minutes. If we had 20 people talk, and we'd divide the time up. He said, that's a great idea, Larry. So that's how council came to the 3-minute rule, and to the 5 o'clock Ways and Means and the 5:30 meeting, and then the citizens participation is 30 minutes. So the mayor and I could get out and go watch baseball. That's not exactly true, but we wanted to put, it was getting very much out of hand. And some places you have to sign up and you may not, Charleston County School Board.
Right.
So there's a few things that happen that, of course, that rule didn't really help too much, because I do remember going, particularly the bar closings, the smoking,
Right.
going till midnight.
Right.
So none of the council members that served when I was serving ever worried about getting out on time or what have you, but we just thought that would shorten it up so that we would also have time to discuss matters that were prudent and not be drug into 10 or 11 o'clock. And then I've seen issues get kind of, you just tired and you want to go home.
Right.
So you know, I'm very proud of the time that I served on council, and continuing to contribute a little bit to the community and making people like you smile when I talk about dream vacation.
Vacations. I just want to go to Mexico.
And just to show you, there it is, dream
Oh,
vacations,
wow.
what does it say?
Wow, Larry's fun
Fun
specialist.
special.
That's cool, man.
And if you want to take a vacation, you go
Yes.
to shirleyagoodtime.com. That's our website.
Yeah.
My wife, Sam, if she was sitting here, was the one that came up with that. Last name Shirley, agoodtime.com.
Wow. So, okay, you're still doing insurance, and you're obviously tackling travel right now, and obviously you've served our community as a city council member. But what's next for you?
Enjoying life and helping other people enjoy it. Well, I guess what's next for me in June, the grandkids got a Christmas present from Granddad, and we're gonna go on a cruise with them.
Wow.
So that's the next fun thing, because they're in Ohio and I didn't get to see them. And I hope to see my oldest son, grandson is 17, and I wished I could get him to the College of Charleston, play some baseball or
Baseball.
something. I'm not sure, we'll work on it and see. He's in Ohio, and it'd be great to have him down here at the Citadel Art College of Charleston, but he may get an offer up there that's hard to beat. But what's next for me? At my age, I'm going into the fourth quarter, fully charged up and ready to take on any task. But I've got enough tasks right now that I'm happy to do those and rest a little bit and enjoy ourselves. We go into the Baltics
Right.
with a group of people in August and see a little bit more of the world and see people smiling.
That's good to hear. That's really, really good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, you don't live but once, and you need to try to enjoy life, and you need to love, live, and laugh.
That's right. I agree with that. Well, Larry, Shirley, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, it was a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
You too.